I will just some minutes before to start in order to wait all persons who will attend to this webinar. Thanks to all for joining in our webinar focused on Homberger Hub, a device to expand the Doosan Robotics capabilities. I'm Matteo, and at my side is Roberto, that we will show later our device and introduce the new feature released just in the last release. But before, very briefly, because we would like to focus only on Homberger Hub, who we are. Homberger is an historic company, an Italian company, seated in Genova. After over 100 years of story, we are currently structured in 6 different business units. We are able to offer to the Italian industry several products, from most simple to most complicated, as could be active anti-vibrating system for military and aerospace market. And obviously, we could also supply cobots. Here, this is our business unit, robotics. We are the youngest business unit, but we have in our portfolio probably the most highest technology available here in Homberger. As you can see, we can offer obviously cobots from Doosan Robotics, all 3 series. We can offer academic, that's the most compact and most precise industrial robot in the market. Business system from Solomon, so 3D random pick system with AI integrated. We are proud to be dealers for a robot, one of the most wide one-stop shop solution in the market for light robots. And obviously, of course, the Homberger Hub, that is the topic of this our meeting. On the left, just some pics about our office, our lab. And this is the place where all idea and all the feature in the Homberger Hub born. And now word to Roberto from the Homberger Hub.
Thanks, Matteo. Hi, everyone. So let me introduce the Homberger Hub for those who are seeing it for the first time. So Homberger Hub is a software platform to extend Doosan Robotics with additional features and functionalities. When you connect the hub to the robot, you gain a Wi-Fi access to connect to the robot, but mostly you gain new function provided by the apps of the platform. Those apps are RecordBot, VR Studio, and Checkup. Setup is super easy, so you just have to connect the hub to the robot, and this will generate a Wi-Fi network that you can use to connect. On the other hand, if you already have an enterprise network that you want to use, you just have to connect both the hub and the robot to your network, and you can go on using your company Wi-Fi to connect to the device. Okay, so now let's see the apps of the platform, and let's start from RecordBot. RecordBot is the app of the platform for path recording. So every collaborative robot can memorize and save a single point position. Instead, with RecordBot, you can record a whole trajectory, optimize it, and let the robot repeat it. And that's why of the slogan, record, smooth, play. Okay, let's see together a video of this debarring application to understand how RecordBot works with Doosan Robotics.
Robots. With RecordBot, you can easily program complex tasks using the direct teaching feature of Doosan Robots. With just one click on the robot cockpit, waypoints can be saved. With a long click, you can start a recording session. During the recording session, all the robot motions will be recorded. Don't mind about movements, velocity, and accelerations. You can even stop and make yourself comfortable. With RecordBot, you can easily adjust trajectories later on. Stop the recording session with a long push on the cockpit button. In the post-processing tab, you can smooth your path to remove noise produced by manual guidance during the recording session. You can set velocities, choosing a constant velocity profile if needed, and then test step-by-step your task.
Okay, so you see it's very easy to set up trajectory using RecordBot. Another interesting feature of RecordBot is Simplified force control. So, for example, in this case, this is a polishing application of a naval component. The operator is recording the trajectory and is taking some point, but you will see when the robot will repeat the trajectory, it will also apply force control to grant contact forces between the tool and the surface that must be worked. So even setting up force control can be done through RecordBot. Okay, now let's see the other application of the platform, that is DRL Studio. DRL Studio is an integrated development environment for Doosan Robotics, and you see here the 5 pillars of DRL Studio. So as you know, Doosan Robotics can be programmed using Python programming languages, and DRL Studio has a lot of features to help you develop Python scripting. So, for example, you have how to compute features, syntax analysis, quick fixes, live documentation, smart refactoring, online programming, testing, logging, and so on. So you actually have tons of software engineering function to help you with Python programming. Then, very important, DRL Studio offers the project synchronization function. So let's say that you develop your function, your script, your skill on your PC using Python, and with just one click, you can upload all these Python resources on the robot controller, and then you can use them inside the teach pendant, for example, with Task Builder or Task Writer. As you're seeing right now, DRL Studio is also integrated with RoboDK for offline simulation. So you can test your DRL script inside the simulator, even if you don't have the real robot connected. You can also, for example, move the virtual robot inside the simulator and go on programming. So in this period of COVID, it's very useful because you can stay in your home, in your house, and you can go on with application development and then test the real application on the real robot just when you have finished it. And finally, we add the 2 new features of this new release that are Power Up Library and Smart HMI. We will see a live demonstration of Smart HMI Editor at the end. So for now, let's focus on Power Up Library. Power Up Library is a space inside DRL Studio where you can download power-ups from the cloud. Power-ups are basically Python library that provide specific function to the robot. As you see, you can add your this power-up to your project, and each power-up comes with a dedicated documentation. So you can check the live documentation to understand how the new function works. For example, here you're seeing documentation for the palletizing power-up. And all power-ups come with a working example. So you can use this working example to be guided through the new function and understand how it works. And of course, you can test it on the real robot or on the simulated one. So we have this set of power-ups. We will keep them updated and we will release new one during the year. But let me explain a little more about this power-up. So for example, the motion leap power-up provides additional motion function. So you have, for example, integrated pick and place operation. You have some kinematics command to check if a certain point is reachable or if it's in singular configuration. And this is very useful because you can know in advance if a certain position will be not reachable or singular. And so you can implement some strategy to avoid them. And we have some force command, integrated force commands for stack, unstack, touch, and inserting operation. And then we have many utilities function, for example, to manage reference system and Euler angles. Of course, we have advanced motion commands. For example, we have a move serpentine command. So you just have to define 4 points and a progressive step. And this will make the robot move along a serpentine that is very useful for pointing or sending application. Then we have a move blending command, which allows to automatically optimize and calculate the blending radius for long trajectory. Let me show a real application of this function. This is a gluing application, and here on the left you will see the case where the motion power-up has not been used. So we have taken all the points of the trajectory and we have spent a lot of time to set for each of these points the correct blending radius. So programming times was very long, and actually also the outcome result was not very good because we have this kind of stop and go trajectory that was not very optimized. And instead, here on the right, you will see the same point, but in this case, we have used the motion power-up to automatically calculate the blending radius for each of the points of the trajectory. So programming was super fast, and you can see, I don't know if the streaming quality of the video is good, but trajectory actually is very, very fluid, very smooth. As you can see, also trajectory has a lot of points, has more than 200 points. This is a useful command if you have long trajectories because you don't have a maximum number of points for the trajectory to set up. You can have any number of points composing your trajectory. Then we have Easy Pallet, which is the power-up for palletizing application. You can specify number of columns, number of rows, number of layers, or instead you can just set up the dimension of the boxes that you want to manage, and the power-up will calculate automatically all the position of the pallet. You see here an example of Easy Pallet coding. So in less than 10 line of code, you can set up your palletizing application. So very easy to use. We have also some option to configure the palletizing behavior. So you can choose the path that you want to use for picking and placing the boxes. And you can also set up this mirroring option that enables to automatically rotate each layer of the pallet to increase the overall pallet structure stability. Then the utility power-up provide all utilities function that do not regard motion. So, for example, you have data gathering and monitoring. You have function for persisting complex parameters. You have function to manage USB device. And in this case, for example, you are seeing a data gathering exported in a CSV format that has been monitoring during an application execution. So you can gather data and then export it later to check what is going on in your application. Remote API power-ups allows to directly call robot instruction from external application. So, for example, if you have any desktop application or if you have PC panel or smartphone, using this power-up, you can directly call the MoveJ, MoveL, or any other commands of the robot directly from your apps without any need of any other integration. So no need for Modbus, no need for Profinet, very easy to use. I've got a real application example of this technology. This is a 3D vision scanning application developed by our partner Fratelli Rotondi. In this case, is directly the software of the vision camera that is calling the commands from the robot. So it's saying, okay, move J here, move L there, enable manual guidance. So a lot of commands were integrated directly in the software of the camera and without any need for any other integration or protocol. Then, of course, we have some third-party power-ups for third-party system. For example, with the HomeRobot power-up, you can control HomeRobot device directly. So no need for digital I/O, no need for Modbus, no need for Doosan skill. You just have all the function to control the device directly provided for the Python language. You see here we have RG2, RG6, Sender, 2Hub G7, and VGC10 that have been already integrated, but soon we will have all the other tools added to the power-up. And then we have also support for Solomon Vision System. Solomon is a vision system for random beam picking application, and you can use the power-up to let the robot be a master and command as a slave directly the vision system and develop in a very optimized way your vision application. Okay, so power-up library is actually a tool for the community, and we really believe in this approach for the community. So you can enable developer option on the Health Studio. You can then become a developer and you can realize your own power-up. And this is very simple. With just one click, you can turn your Python script into a power-up. At this point, you can choose whatever to provide your power-up to end user, or you can also choose to share power-up with the community. If you share your power-up with the community, Homberger team will review your power-up. So we will test it and we will evaluate it. So based on how good it is and based on the function that it provides, we will assign berry points. So you can earn those berry points. And at the end, you will have your power-up published on the official repository. And you can use these berry points in exchange for free Homberger Hub, and then of course start again. So as you see, we really want to let the community grow. So we also have this program to reward you for your effort in developing power-up. So we will soon release some new information about this program. But if you would like to join, just contact us and we will give you more information. Finally, we have the last application of the platform, that is Checkup. Checkup is the app for smart human-robot interaction. So with this application, operator can directly check and monitor the status and the process of your robotics application. And also they can actively interact with the application for setting up some parameters or setting up some tasks. I will just show you a video about this that explains how Checkup works.
Applications are becoming part of our everyday work life. Checkup is the app for Doosan Robots that helps you build a true smart human-robot interaction. With Checkup, you can monitor your production process and have instant insight of what is going on. No constraints. Any parameter, data, or variable can be measured and viewed on real-time charts. Thanks to Checkup, your robot is smart. He will send messages directly on your smartphone when human activities are needed. Use flexible task mechanism to achieve a variable and customizable production. With Checkup, you can easily change process parameters, choose receipts, and organize your robot tasks to reach your daily ever-changing goals. Focus on what really matters to your business. Go on with your activities and let the robot ask for help only when it's really needed. With Checkup, you can remotely monitor the robot task and receive notifications directly on your smartphones to handle stops and safety events. Enhance your Doosan robot with a true smart interaction. Checkup, human-robot relation.
Okay, so this is how Checkup works. And now let's focus on the real new feature of Checkup, that is HMI editor. So as you've seen, you can develop your custom user interface using DRL Studio, and then you can deploy this kind of interface on the robot teach pendant on desktop application or on Checkup smartphone application. So here the slogan is design your HMI once and then deploy on every platform. I will show you a live demonstration for how does it work. So I will open the RecordBot Studio. And I will create a new HMI file. So this is a blank HMI screen. I can add some text to it. So for example, I can say this is my text. And then in this drag and drop way, I can place it wherever I want. Then I can add some button. So this is my button. And I can link this button with a DRL function. So this can be a function provided by the robot, or it can be a custom function that you have defined. So any DRL command is fine here. Then you have some variable monitor component. So you can keep monitored a variable. So you put here the name of your variable. And this will be updated in real time with the value of this variable. Then you have inputs field. You can choose the type of this input field for the operator. So you can have, for example, a string input field. And this is the DRL variable that will be used to store what the operator inputs. So I will call it my string. And you can also have input for position. So you can let operator using the direct teaching feature of Doosan Robotics to take new position and set up dynamically your application. Of course, you can add some images. So let's add Doosan. Okay. And in this way, you can compose your application. You can have a preview of how it will look like. And if you connect to the Homberger Hub, okay, you can click here and install it on your robot. And I will try to show you how does it look. So this is a robot teach pendant. This is the standard interface of Doosan. When you launch a new HMI, this is your custom HMI. So you have the buttons that we have inserted. So you see operator can insert some tests. The operator can take position and can interact with the application. So very easy to set up and powerful to develop collaborative application where the operators can directly interact with the teach pendant. Okay, let's jump in again in the presentation. All the application Visual Studio, RecordBot, and Checkup have been certified by Doosan. So Doosan have tested and reviewed them, and actually they are available as official plugin inside the Doosan Mate channel. Let me give you some input about what's going on in the upcoming year. So we have released now this new feature that are Power Up Library and Smart HMI Editor. We will release soon a new RecordBot version with pointing and sending function. Probably during the summer, we will launch this Homberger Masterclass, which is an online channel where you can have all tutorials, all video, all training material joined, so you can learn how to use all the features provided by the platform. And of course, during the year, we will keep updated the Power Up and we will release new ones. And hopefully some of this Power Up will come from you guys. So again, if you want to join this this program, you're very welcome to do. So just contact if you wanna join the Power Up Library program. Okay, just a note about license. So when you get the Homberger Hub, you also gain a lifetime license for DR Studio and for Power Up Library. So when you purchase the hub, DR Studio and all the features that I've shown you about Power Up Library are included, and you can use on any robot or any PC. Instead, about RecordBot and Checkup, there is also a lifetime license, but this license must be associated with a specific robot serial number. Okay, so that's it for the presentation of the Homberger Hub. You are now very welcome to do any question, any so we will be glad to answer your question. Just use the chat, or if you want, we can enable your microphone so you can have directly a question for us. Okay, so
okay, so first question is about who developed the Homberger Hub and all the software.
So all the Homberger Hub products have been realized by Homberger, so have been realized by our application engineers. but they have been tested and certified by Doosan.
Okay, the second is more on application. So we received the question, which kind of app we should use for a debugging application.
Okay, so maybe the more appropriate application for debugging is RecordBot. So the app that allows you to perform path recording, so you can record all the trajectory, let the robot repeat it through RecordBot, and also apply simplified force control to keep the tool in contact with the surface. And RecordBot comes for Windows, so we have a desktop application for Windows. We have an Android application for smartphone or tablet, and we also have a Linux version. So we have this cross-platform approach that you can use with RecordBot apps. Okay,
another question that is mainly about the utilities library, but I think that could be extended to all app where it's possible to monitor in or save the input. So the question is, which is the frequency about the update of data?
Okay, all about speed, about velocity of data communication. So let's say that it's not really fast. So we can provide, for example, 4 or 5 samples per second. So actually you don't, you have from a human eye the perspective to have it in real time. So it's quite fast for the human, but it's not really fast in terms of industry protocol. So if you wanna, if you are talking about EtherCAT of some really fast protocol, that's not the good tool. But if you want, let's say 4 or 5 samples per second, is it okay? So the human will not perceive any delay. It will be very data will be very fresh during using the library.
Okay, question about the palletizing system. Question is, which kind of approach we can use in our app for palletizing? And I think that I can give you the answer. Now, the techniques for the pallet, it's quite simple, but as Roberto showed, during this year we will improve the techniques, also thanks from feedback that we received from the field. So several boxes, several kind of boxes, and different layout of each layer it's planned to be released.
Okay. Then we have a question about reachability. So he's saying, okay, if a certain point is not reachable, how can that be managed by the robot? So let's say if you use RecordBot, you have not this problem, because if you have recorded the trajectory previously, for sure all the points that you have recorded are reachable, because you have used the same robot to record the path. Instead, if you refer to the reachability function to check if certain point is reachable or not, yes, you can use that function to know in advance if a certain point will not be reachable. So you can use that function in your program, and then based on the resulting output of that function, you can decide in your program whatever to do. So you can decide to stop, or you can decide to not go there. You can decide to go in another position. So the function will say, okay, the point is not reachable, but then it's up to you to choose whatever to do.
Okay, another question about the smart HMI. The question is, to use the smart HMI, people should purchase the license for the checkup, or it's enough to use the DL Studio?
Okay, about smart HMI, you will only need the hub and DRL Studio if you want to develop the HMI for the teach pendant. So that's enough if you wanna it on the robot teach pendant. The checkup license is required if you wanna the HMI also on your smartphone application. So checkup license is dedicated to the Android application for smartphone or tablet.
Okay, another question about the smart HMI. If it's possible to insert a selection list. So I think that the question is it possible to prepare some receipt for the user?
Okay, we not at the moment, but actually this is the first release, and we are receiving many inputs, many feedbacks from you, and we already received this kind of request to have let's say a drop-down component to check to select some values. So for sure it will be integrated in the upcoming release. So you will have another of this combo box or drop-down menu that you can add to the HMI screen.
Okay, some question from RecordBot. So the question is how the points are sampled, and if it's possible to manage the velocity of the trajectory after the record.
Okay, so the really great things about RecordBot is that when you record the trajectory, you don't have to worry about velocity. So you can record the path in a very, let's say, trembling and unstable way. So you can also stop, leave the robot, and then go on with recording, because the robot, so RecordBot will record only the position of your trajectory. And then later on, you can set up a velocity and acceleration and all parameters for that trajectory. So you can, for example, record very slowly the trajectory and then ask RecordBot to apply a very high velocity and to keep a constant velocity. So you can set up all dynamic profile later, and you don't have to worry about them when you program and when you manually record the task. Okay, so another question is where can we get other information? So if we will probably publish this webinar soon. So in a few days, you will able to see this again. And for all other details, so about manuals, about download of apps, you can go to the Homberger website. The Homberger, so Homberger website, of course, is in Italian language, but if you go inside the Homberger Hub section, it's in English. So all information are there. So you can find a lot of information for all the apps that we have seen. We have also some training materials, some video tutorials that you can check to learn more about the Homberger Hub program.
Yeah, and the answer is yes. The webinar is recorded, so we can share with you the recording at the end. Okay, no more question, and we are quite happy.
Okay.
Working online, We are planning stuff like in the future.
Okay. We want to work on training material. Sorry, the question was if we have in plan to have some training material. Yes, we have in plan to increase the training material. So we are going to make some video tutorial that you can find online. And we have also this kind of Homberger Hub masterclass plan that we have in plan to release during the summer to gather all the training material and information.
Okay, we hope that this webinar it's interesting for you. You can reach us for any question, doubts with our email if you already have, with the link that you received in email, and of course you could be in touch on LinkedIn. So thanks to all. Have a nice day and have a great weekend.
Thank you guys. Bye bye. See you.